As we know, Oda doesn't copy everything from one particular source but is inspired by various cultures and stories. Luffy is a character that partly embodies the element of Hanuman, the monkey-faced god in Hindu mythology who is known as the son of Vayu and personifies the wind. Therefore, Dragon is speculated to be a character who is capable of using the wind or has eaten the Hito Hito no Mi fruit with the model of the wind god, and so on. If this theory is valid, we could get hints to predict the future story of One Piece. In your opinion, what is the biggest mystery in the world of One Piece? Who is Emu really? What is One Piece? Why did Oda draw Gaimon? In my opinion, the biggest mystery is who Luffy's mother is. This also applies to Nami, but the mother of the protagonist should be important. Who do you think is Luffy's mother? Has she already appeared in the story? Will she have an important role? I hope to hear your opinions in the comments. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Dawn Dusk. On this channel, I share theories and analyses about One Piece from the perspective of the original language. I always appreciate your views and feedback on my videos. Therefore, I would like to work on new projects if we reach 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you are always welcome to do so. In many manga and anime, there are two possibilities for the protagonist's parents. If their existence is not so important, they appear from the beginning. However, if their existence is significant, their presence tends to be hidden. In the case of One Piece, it's likely the latter, and Luffy's mother may have intentionally been hidden because she is an important person. Of course, this could be different, but if Luffy's mother is an important personality, what kind of background would she have? Returning to the theory, if one of Luffy's models is Hanuman, then who is his mother? Apsara Anjana. Apsara means a female spirit of clouds and water in Indian and Buddhist culture. In Japanese, it's Tenyo Anjana, and this kanji ten. It means sky, but it has a religious aspect of heaven. So we could have two hypotheses. Luffy's mother may have blood from the Sky Island, but she could also be a celestial dragon or a queen of a particular country. In another video, the author plans to explain a theory that Luffy's mother is a queen. If this theory interests you, let them know by liking the video. If it reaches 1,000 likes, they plan to publish it immediately. In this video, we are exploring the possibility that Luffy's mother is a person from the Sky Island. However, in my opinion, she is actually Garp's daughter. In One Piece, children generally resemble one of their parents. Luffy and Garp share physical and personality traits, while dragons are very different. Additionally, Luffy said he doesn't resemble me when he saw a photo of Dragon, and their personalities seem opposite. It would be amusing if Dragon liked to eat a lot of meat and pick his nose like Luffy and Garp. Furthermore, Garp never explicitly said that Dragon is his son. He only said that Luffy's father is Dragon. In chapter 439, during the last scene of the Enies Lobby saga, when Garp is chasing Luffy and throws a bomb at the ship, he says, "Remember, you're the son of my son," in the some translated version. However, in the original Japanese, the word Kodomo cannot determine whether Luffy is a son or daughter. If it were written as Muzuko no Muzuko, then Dragon would officially be Garp's son, but this has not yet been revealed. I believe Oda is intentionally hiding this information. So, Luffy's characteristics and personality would be inherited from both Garp and his mother. Hearing this, some of you may be wondering why Dragon also has the last name Monkey D. Well, in Japan, when a couple gets married, it's typical for the wife to take her husband's last name. And when they have children, they usually give them their father's last name. In Japan, it's not common to use the mother's last name as a middle name. However, there are cases where the husband takes the wife's last name. This is known as being a mukoyashi. In this case, the child would take on the mother's last name. So in this theory, Dragon is mukoyashi of Garp's daughter, which is why he also has the last name Monkey D. However, if Luffy's mother is from the Sky Island, which ethnic group does she belong to? Is she a native of Angel Island? A Shandian? A native of Bilka? a native of Weatheria, or another group? In my opinion, Luffy's mother is a Shandian. I think that the monkey family's ancestors are related to the Shandians. I believe that one of the reasons why Luffy was able to eat the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika fruit is because of his bloodline. Nika may be a Lunarian. Furthermore, I think that there is a connection between the Lunarians and the Shandians, and that their common ancestor is Nika. I would like to make a video about the relationship between the Lunarians and the Shandians someday. In chapter 290, Calgra says, "We are devoted to our ancestors just as we are to our gods. They worship the god of the sun." Following Calgra's words, Nika could be their ancestor. Therefore, if the Zoan fruit has a will, I think Nika chose Luffy, who inherited Shandian blood, as its possessor. But maybe you have a doubt. If Luffy and Garp inherited Shandian blood, why don't wings come out of their backs? I could explain this from two perspectives. I think that the monkey family is a mixed race of Shandians and the people of the Blue Ocean. Perhaps the feathers don't grow due to the dilution of Shandian blood. Furthermore, in the book One Piece Yellow, it says the wings of the natives in Skypiea are just ornaments, but I'm not sure exactly what that means because there are two possibilities. It could mean that they are not physically feathered, or it could mean that despite having a pair of wings on their back, they don't work for flying like King. Based on these facts, I think that Luffy has Shandian blood. To support this theory, I want to show you something. Do you remember Koban, who always wears a headdress made up of an animal's head? And what about Garp? Do you remember what he often wore in the early stages of One Piece? It's also used on his battleship. Yes, a headdress made up of an animal's head. And in episode 1080, Garp finally unleashes a space-themed punch. These depictions suggest a connection between the Monkey D family and the universe. Furthermore, Luffy has been using a technique called Gum Gum No Rocket since the beginning of his adventure. However, readers have yet to see rockets in the One Piece universe. On the contrary, the Straw Hat Pirates reached Sky Island using a dangerous method called the knock-up stream. So why does Luffy know the word rocket anyway? It's possible that Garp taught him. And Garp may be aware that his ancestry can be traced back to the Shandia, who currently reside on Sky Island. And could it be that Luffy has access to the fire of Chandra?